and welcome back to the Striha Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Parker Striha, and on today's episode, we are going to be discussing 10 NBA players that I believe are untouchable. I am by no means professional, but I do love talking about sports, so thank you for joining me. So just a quick note before I go over all 10 players. The only way I ever see these players being traded is if the player either demands a trade or if the team completely decides to nosedive into a rebuild, or I guess if it is a sign and trade, but I don't see any way that these players are straight up traded to another team without demanding a trade. So starting off at number 1, and these are in no order, like no specific order, I just kind of wrote them down as they came to my mind. So number 1, I have Giannis Antetokounmpo, a power forward for the Milwaukee Bucks. Giannis was the 15th overall pick in 2013 out of Greece, and he is currently only 27 years old. And at 27 years old, all he has done is be a 2-time All-NBA second team, 3-time All-NBA first team, 2020 Defensive Player of the Year, 2-time League MVP, 2017 All-Defensive second team, 2021 All-Star MVP, 3-time All-Defensive first team, 2021 champion, 2021 Finals MVP, 2017 Most Improved Player, and he was also on the NBA's 75th anniversary team as one of the 75 greatest players in NBA history. He's still only 27 years old, or maybe 28 at the time I'm recording this, but he is still extremely young, and he might not even be in the peak of his career. He might still be getting better. And with him finally starting to develop somewhat of a jump shot and getting better at his free throws, he's only cementing his spot as one of, if not the best player in the league. I won't get into that debate because I know people say LeBron, some people say Kevin Durant, some people say Giannis, and I mean, everyone has their own opinion on who the best player in the league is. But at 27 years old, Giannis's resume matches some players that played 15, 20 years in the league, and he's done that in roughly 8-9 years. It's unbelievable what he's done in his little time in the league. He already has a Hall of Fame career, and he could honestly play for another 10 years. And I'd be interested to see what his resume looks like after he retires, because right now he is the Bucks organization. He has brought life back to that team, and he just won them their first championship in I don't even remember how many years. He is arguably the most dominant player in the league right now, so there's no way the Bucks will trade their franchise guy, the leader of that team. And he is currently entering the first year of a massive 5-year, $228 million contract that he signed a couple years back. And this season, he is currently averaging, at the time I am recording this, 29.4 points, 11.3 rebounds, 6 assists, 1.4 blocks, and 1 steal. So like I said, he is, in my eyes, the Bucks organization. He is, other than Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, probably the greatest player to ever play for the Milwaukee Bucks. And I think unless he becomes the NBA's all-time leading scorer and wins as many championships as Kareem did, I think he will stay as the number 2 player in Bucks history, but that is still extremely impressive if he's already considered that at only 27 years old. Next, I have Stephen Curry, a point guard for the Golden State Warriors. Curry was drafted with the number 7 overall pick in 2009 out of Davidson, and he is currently 33 years old. At this time, Curry is the 2022 All-Star MVP, a 4-time All-NBA first team, 2-time All-NBA second team, 2018 All-NBA third team, 2010 All-Rookie first team, 2-time league MVP, including 1 year where he was a unanimous MVP, and he was also on the NBA 75th anniversary team. He also signed a 4-year, $215 million extension with the Warriors in 2021. He is the greatest shooter of all time, and I believe there's no argument that can be made against that. the number of shots he passed, I believe, was it Ray Allen, who was originally number one? He passed Ray Allen in, I don't even, like, the way he passed him, like, the numbers, when you look at them, it's crazy how fast and efficiently Curry passed Ray Allen for the number one spot in all-time three-point shots made. And he is regarded as the best shooter in the league, and he has been for getting close to a decade, in my opinion. And I'm pretty sure since around the time of that first championship they won, he has been considered the best shooter in the league, and there's really no question about it. He can shoot from anywhere on the court, and he can make it look effortless. And there's not many, if any, players in the league right now or ever that can do what he's done. The amount of highlight shots he's made that as soon as he puts them up, you don't expect them to go in if other players were shooting it. But if it's Stephen Curry shooting it, you just expect it to go in no matter where on the court it is. And he is the centerpiece of that Warriors team, and he has been for quite some time. He's joined by guys like Klay Thompson and Draymond Green, who were both on that 2015 NBA championship with Curry. And I think it's pretty safe to say, Wilt Chamberlain, I guess, is probably the greatest Warrior of all time. But Curry is definitely getting close to that spot, and he's by no means done. He could easily play for, until he's maybe not 40, but he could definitely play for a couple more years, increase his stats, and make his resume look even better. And honestly, I think when he retires, he'll go down as maybe the greatest point guard of all time, if not probably number two. There's just no arguing what he's done. And this season, as I'm recording this, he is averaging 25.7 points, 5.3 rebounds, 6.5 assists, 1.4 steals, and he is shooting 37.6% from the three-point line. Number 3, I have Nikola Jokic, a center for the Denver Nuggets. Jokic was the 41st overall pick in 2014 out of Serbia, and he is only 27 years old. His resume at 27 years old is the 2021 League MVP, 2-time All-NBA First Team, 2020 All-NBA Second Team, 2016 All-Rookie First Team. So not as impressive as Giannis or Curry's as of right now, but he has quickly became, out of nowhere, one of, if not the best center in the league. The argument can be made for the next guy on my list, Joel Embiid, for who the number one center is in the league. But I think you have to give it to Jokic, especially after he won MVP last year when, no one really expected him to be what he is right now after he was a second-round pick in the NBA draft. He's kind of shocked everyone, and I think Denver Nuggets fans and members of that organization are just extremely happy that they got him. But he is entering the fourth year of what could be considered a steal of a 5-year, $147 million contract. So when that is up, it's pretty safe to say that he is going to get probably one of the biggest contracts in NBA history. The Nuggets are not going to want to let him leave by any means. And that's pretty fair. You don't really want to get rid of arguably the best player at his position if he's on your team and he's been producing the way he has. And this year with Jamal Murray missing all of the season up till now, I believe, Michael Porter Jr. missed most of the season. He has been that Nuggets team this year, and maybe that's why he's been producing at the level he has this year with 25.5 points, 13.8 rebounds, 8 assists, 1.4 steals, and a field goal percentage of 53.8%. He's dominating the league. There's not many guys that can stop him because if you contest his shot at the rim, he'll throw a behind the back pass and find a shooter beyond the arc or cutting towards the rim. His court vision rivals that of some of the top point guards in the league, and that's really rare for a guy of his size. At number 4, I have Joel Embiid, a center for the Philadelphia 76ers. He, like Jokic, could arguably be considered the best center in the league, although I do give it to Jokic, despite being a bigger Joel Embiid fan. Embiid was the number 3 overall pick in 2014 out of Kansas, and he is also only 27 years old. At this point in his career, he is a 3-time All-NBA second team, 3-time All-Defensive second team, and a 2017 All-Rookie first team. These past 2 years, including this year and last year, he has been a finalist for the MVP, and I'm sure he will be this year. Just the numbers he's been putting up have been bonkers. Up until that James Harden, Ben Simmons trade at the trade deadline, he was really all that 76ers team had, in my opinion. I don't really trust anyone else on that team other than Embiid up to that point. And I mean, he produced. He's currently averaging 29.8 points, 11.1 rebounds, 4.4 assists, 1.5 blocks, and 1 steal. And he is not the best shooting center in the league because that's Karl Anthony Towns, but I think he's right there behind him. You don't really expect centers to pull up from beyond the three-point line, and Joel Embiid is one of the centers that can do it. He may not shoot at the rate and efficiency of a guy like Karl Anthony Towns, but when he can shoot from beyond the three-point line, it just adds another dimension to his game that not a lot of teams have at the center position. He signed a 4-year, $196 million extension in 2021, which ties him to the 76ers for the foreseeable future, and I don't see that changing with the trade for James Harden. As long as he re-signs with the 76ers, I think Joel Embiid is going to be happy, and he's going to he'll have no reason to want to leave the 76ers like he may have if the Ben Simmons saga had ended differently. But like I said, he is one of, if not the best center in the league, depending on who you ask, and the 76ers would be absolutely stupid to get rid of him. Number 5, I have Luka Doncic, a point guard for the Dallas Mavericks. Doncic was the number 3 overall pick in 2018 out of Slovenia, and he is only 23 years old. At 23 years old, he is a 2-time All-NBA first team, the 2019 Rookie of the Year, and 2019 All-Rookie first team. He has been one of the best players in the league since coming into the league, and I don't really think it's a surprise to anyone, but maybe the level at which he's playing has been a surprise because he shocked everyone, and I mean, some of the shots he's hit, and even in his rookie year, he was hitting some insane shots that not a lot of players can make. He's quickly evolved into one of the best players in the league, not only at his position, but overall. He's been considered for the MVP, I think, close to every year, except for maybe his rookie year. And I don't see that stopping anytime soon. And I mean, I know it's not real life, but in 2K, I mean, he's crazy in 2K. I think he wins MVP almost every year when you simulate a My League. Not that that matters, but it just kind of shows. It really doesn't show anything in real life, but Luka is just a freak. In 2021, he did sign a 5-year, $207 million extension with the Mavericks. And I mean, he wasn't even the Mavericks pick in that draft. The Mavericks actually drafted Trae Young out of Oklahoma before the Hawks and Mavericks swapped the two players, and I don't think Luka could be any happier about that. I'm pretty sure he loves it in Dallas, despite what went down with he and Porzingis not really working out. But the Mavericks got a steal in Luka Doncic. He's one of the best players in the league, and I don't see that changing. He's only 23 years old, so he has plenty of time to bolster that resume and become one of the greatest NBA players of all time and could eventually maybe rival Dirk Nowitzki for the greatest Maverick of all time. In 2021, he is averaging 27.6 points, 9.2 rebounds, 8.5 assists, 1.2 steals, and is shooting 45.5% from the field. He is this Mavericks team right now. They've seemed to do really well when drafting foreign guys. Dirk Nowitzki is a perfect example of that. He was that Mavericks team from about the time he was drafted till he eventually retired, despite his production dropping dramatically as he aged. Luka is this Mavericks team. I don't see that changing. I mean, this is their franchise guy that they are going to build around for the next 10, 15 years, however long Luka decides to play. Number 6, I have Ja Morant, a point guard for the Memphis Grizzlies. He was the number 2 overall pick in 2019 out of Murray State, and he is only 22 years old. He is currently the 2020 Rookie of the Year and a 2020 All-Rookie First Team, so his resume doesn't really compete with a lot of the other players on this list, but once the Memphis Grizzlies drafted him out of Murray State, he quickly became the face of that franchise. He kind of took that over from Marc Gasol after he had been traded from the team a couple years prior. And I mean, he is one of the most exciting young players in the league. Everyone loves him. And I mean, the Grizzlies, they struck gold when they drafted Ja Morant. I don't think they could have done any better in that draft class. Because, I mean, when you look at the players from that class, Ja Morant is the one you think of. It might be Zion, but he's been a really disappointing pick for the New Orleans Pelicans up till now. And Ja Morant has done nothing but impress and shock the league since being drafted number 2 overall. He is currently in the third year of a 4-year, $40 million rookie contract. So it is pretty safe to say that he is going to get a extremely large deal from the Grizzlies to stay in Memphis after that rookie deal expires. They don't want to see him go someplace else. He loves it in Memphis. He is one of my favorite players in the league, and I think the Grizzlies need to do everything in their power to keep Ja Morant happy, because if he leaves, I fear that team is going to fall back down in the standings like they were in the years prior to drafting him, when they obviously drafted him number 2 overall. So they obviously weren't a good team when they drafted him. So I think they need to keep him happy, because having a player like Ja Morant is going to make other free agents in the league want to come play with him, which could really help a small market team like Memphis. In 2021, he is averaging 27.1 points, 5.9 rebounds, 6.7 assists, 1.2 steals, and is shooting 47.2% from the field. Number 7 on my list is LeBron James, a small forward for the Los Angeles Lakers. He was the number 1 overall pick in 2003 out of St. Vincent St. Mary High School, which, I mean, is it's crazy impressive to be drafted out of high school. I know that can't happen anymore, but LeBron is one of those guys that was drafted straight out of high school and instantly started contributing to an NBA team. He is currently 37 years old, so he is on what many would consider the downslope of his career, because most players don't play past their 40s. And I mean, he is kind of an anomaly when you think of NBA players, because he's been doing it for 18 years, and he's been producing every single year despite missing games here and there, which doesn't really happen with LeBron very often. But at 37 years old, his resume is Hall of Fame caliber. 13-time All-NBA First Team, 3-time All-NBA Second Team, 2019 All-NBA Third Team, 4-time MVP, 4-time champion, 4-time Finals MVP, 3-time All-Star MVP, 5-time All-Defensive First Team, 2014 All-Defensive Second Team, 2004 Rookie of the Year, 2004 All-Rookie First Team, and he was a member of the NBA 75th Anniversary Team. He is widely considered by many to be the greatest player in NBA history. There's the argument that can be made for so many players. I mean, the discussion is normally he or Jordan. I'm not going to get into that. I don't really think that's my place. I didn't watch Jordan play, so I can't really comment on that. But LeBron, like I said, is one of the greatest players of all time, and for the last decade or so, and maybe even longer than that, was considered and is considered the best player in the league by many. And I mean, this year he has been showing that. He is averaging 29 points, 7.9 rebounds, 6.3 assists, 1 block, and 1.6 steals. Now, the Lakers have been, I'll just say it, they've been awful this year. And LeBron is doing all he can to help that team, but the team is really doing nothing to help LeBron. I don't think he will ever get traded, but he has came out and said that he wants to play with his son Bronny when he gets to the league in just a couple years. So I can see him demanding a trade to go play with his son, but that's really the only way I can see him leaving a team other than in free agency, which he has done in the past. Number 8, I have Trae Young, a point guard for the Atlanta Hawks. Trae Young was the number 5 overall pick in 2019 out of Oklahoma, and he is only 23 years old. He also was on the 2019 All-Rookie First Team. That's really all he has for his resume. Like I said with Luka, they were traded for each other in the 2019 draft, which was honestly a win-win for both teams. The Hawks love Trae Young, the fans love him, and he has become the centerpiece of that team. I don't really remember the Hawks having a player like Trae Young that draws fans to their stadium, whether they're good or not. And I mean, his production for the Hawks has been out of this world. He's one of the best shooters in the league, and his production earned him a 5-year, $207 million extension in 2021, so he will be tied to Atlanta for the foreseeable future, and I think that's exactly how both sides want it to be. In 2021, he is averaging 27.8 points, 3.9 rebounds, 9.3 assists, 1 steal, and is shooting 37.8% from behind the three-point line. I mean, Trae Young led the Hawks to, I believe, the Eastern Conference Championship last year, and no one saw that coming. No one saw the Hawks getting as far in the playoffs last year as they did, and I think after that season, that's going to become the expectation for Atlanta, and it will be interesting to see how Trae Young and his teammates respond to that. But I mean, with Atlanta having a player like Trae Young, like with John Morant and the Grizzlies, it really helps them draw in free agents to come to their team, because I don't really think a lot of players are dying to go play for the Atlanta Hawks. But if they have the ability and opportunity to play with a guy like Trae Young, I think they'd be stupid not to at least not consider it. Number 9 on my list, I have Devin Booker, a shooting guard for the Phoenix Suns. Booker was drafted with the 13th overall pick in 2015 out of Kentucky, and he is only 25 years old. Unlike players on this list, his resume is extremely short, as he only has a 2016 All-Rookie First Team to his name. He is also entering the 3rd year of a 5-year, $158 million contract, so he will be getting a large extension coming up pretty soon. Along with Chris Paul, he led the Suns to the NBA Finals last year, and no one really saw that coming. I especially didn't see that coming, but I was happy that they made it. I love Devin Booker. He's one of my favorite players in the league. And although I don't think he will ever be traded, I wouldn't mind if a team like, OKC, who's my favorite team in the league, made a move for him. It's never going to happen, even though they have the assets. Phoenix would be stupid to get rid of Devin Booker, because he was really, even when that team was bad, he was doing all he could to help make that team good, and he is going to be a guy that brings people to Phoenix, whether it's fans, whether it's players. He is the Phoenix organization right now, because the Suns were awful a couple years ago, and they've been awful for a while. But now that he's there and he's producing, and he has a guy like Chris Paul there to work alongside him, and Jay Crowder and DeAndre Ayton, that team, I believe, has the best record in the NBA this year, and Devin Booker is playing a large part in that, with 25.6 points, 5.2 rebounds, 4.6 assists, 1.1 steals, and an impressive 86.4% free throw percentage. I mean, the Suns are scary, and Devin Booker is playing a huge part in that. I think they are probably the favorite to go out of the Western Conference and make it back to the finals. And if you had told me or any other NBA fan, I believe, that the Suns had the chance to make the finals in 2 straight years, I would have called you a fool, but Devin Booker is proving me wrong. Number 10 on my list is Kevin Durant, a power forward for the Brooklyn Nets. Durant was the number 2 overall pick in 2007 out of Texas, and he is 33 years old. He has a very impressive resume with as a 6-time All-NBA first team, 3-time All-NBA second team, 2014 League MVP, 2-time All-Star MVP, 2-time Finals MVP, 2-time champion, 2008 Rookie of the Year, 2008 All-Rookie First Team, and he was on the NBA 75th Anniversary team. Like LeBron James, he is considered and argued to be the best player in the league. I mean, that's kind of been the debate. It's Durant, LeBron, or Giannis are who most people consider to be the best player in the league, and Durant backs it up. He is, in my opinion, the greatest scorer of all time in the NBA, because it is very rare to find a near 7-footer who can shoot from anywhere on the court and make it look as effortless and efficient as he does. I mean, it's so hard to defend a guy who's that tall and shoots from so high up that you have really no chance of blocking or stealing it from him when he goes up to shoot. This year, despite the Brooklyn Nets having a very disappointing season, he is averaging 29.3 points, 7.4 rebounds, 5.8 assists, 0.9 blocks, and is shooting 52% from the field. And I think if Ben Simmons can come back healthy, he's going to provide a really, really helpful piece to Kevin Durant and the Nets in hopes of winning a championship this year. Because if they don't win it this year, I don't know when they'll win it. They've just been really bad, and they've been really disappointing, honestly, because when they brought in James Harden, they brought in Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant, the goal was to win a championship, and after squandering that opportunity last year, I don't know how many chances they're going to get, because I think Kyrie Irving is probably going to leave the team this year, or the following this year, so it probably will go to solely Kevin Durant's team. And it'll be interesting to see how he handles that. He's my favorite player in the league right now, and he has missed some games this year, but I think you can't argue with what he's done in the past and what he's doing now. I just don't think the Nets will trade him. There's no way they trade him. He's one of the biggest names in the league, and if for some reason they decided to trade him, which I don't see any reason or way it happens, it would take a trade package that has never been seen before to bring him to your team, despite him being 33 years old. As always, I am your host, Parker Striha, and this has been the Striha Sports Podcast. Our random sport fact of the day is that the average golf ball has 336 dimples. As always, thank you for tuning in, and don't forget to hit that notification bell for whenever a new video gets posted.